Galnet News Special, 2nd of November 3306, the voyage of the Adamastor. On the 29th of October, a ship was intercepted and brought under control in the Chukkan system. It was empty and abandoned and badly damaged. It had apparently been travelling under autopilot back to its home system for nearly 200 years. What had led to it being abandoned? What had happened to its crew? What secrets did it have to tell of a time only 11 years after Commander Peter Jameson was the first person ever to be awarded the elite rank by the Pilots Federation? Warning: this video covers events which took place 195 years ago in 3111, which have only now come to light. You can go and visit these places for yourself. If you'd like to do that, and if you want to piece the puzzle together for yourself, you might like to go and do that first, and then come back to this video later. Your starting point is the Galnet News article of 29th of October 3306. The ghost ship, Megaship Adamastor, orbiting close to the rings of planet 5b in the Chukkan system, and the local Galnet News in that system. In October 3111, Professor Penelope Carver and a team of geologists who'd been commissioned by Azimuth Biochemicals to survey the systems near the Coalsack Nebula detected strange signals coming from one of the planets in the Muska Dark region, PJ-P B6-1 system. When they investigated, they discovered a number of strange rings of spikes surrounding a lipped shell of some sort. They seemed to be pulsing with energy. It wasn't clear if these were alive, but they were definitely organic and absolutely of interest to Azimuth. On the 13th of October, the survey ship deployed a surface base to allow the rings to be studied in detail. Opinions within the survey team varied, but it seemed probable that this was some sort of alien technology, reminding the team of Neolithic rings of standing stones. These are what we now know as Thargoid barnacle sites. Search parties set off from the base and found 9 or 10 sites with these barnacles. A week after the base was established, on the 20th of October, the scouting party located something different, a crashed alien spaceship. They found something in the wreck. Something that may have been a Thargoid pilot, which also may have been a Thargoid sensor, also known as an unknown artifact, a device which is now known to seriously damage equipment, and which are the reason corrosion-resistant cargo racks were developed by Professor Palin. The Geological Survey Party did not know this, of course, carried the device back to their base camp, where communications and life support equipment started to fail. The Geological Survey reported back to their sponsor, Azimuth Biochemicals, on their findings. In an unusual response, the corporation ordered them to cease all transmissions and wait for the arrival of a megaship, the Adamastor, to take them and the alien discoveries to a secure facility. The Adamastor, the ship that would become known as the Ghost Ship, set out from Chukkan on the 26th of October 3111, but heading in completely the opposite direction. This may have been to throw rivals off the scent, but the reason is not known. On the 29th, it arrived at a listening post in Sinuefi XE-Y C17-7 and received an encrypted message. It then replotted a course and headed at top speed to the Coalsack Nebula, arriving the following day, 30th of October. On that same day, one of the geologists reported that lights were shining down on one of the nearby barnacle sites, and that something like a mouth had opened in the sky above. Professor Carver speculated that the crashed alien ship might not have been alone. It is not quite clear what happened on the 30th. It does, however, seem clear that Azimuth Biochemicals, or whatever or whoever was behind Azimuth, wanted news of the Thargoid discoveries hushed up. A small fleet of Sidewinders flew down to the base carrying soldiers, who took the Thargoid item, whatever it was, up to the megaship, which then appears to have departed immediately, leaving soldiers and geologists abandoned on the ground. It may have been that the soldiers had been ordered to kill the remaining geologists, but something far more deadly intervened. Something quite possibly one or more Thargoid ships, arrived through one of those holes in the sky, started sucking everyone and everything movable from the base up into the sky. The only account of this describes this as being like little toy soldiers sucked up into the light. However, the Adamastor megaship had escaped and begun its journey towards the supposed, but as yet undiscovered secure site, located somewhere in the direction of Barnard's Loop. The jump drives failed again and again under the damaging influence of the Thargoid technology they were carrying. Professor Carver, realising that she would either die on the Adamastor or be killed when it reached their unknown secure destination, jumped ship when it was undergoing repairs in the HIP 69-200 system. She stole a Sidewinder, the wreckage of which has just been discovered. It is not known what happened to the rest of the crew of the Adamastor, but it was 195 years later, almost to the day, that the Adamastor found its way home. Abandoned, and with all the escape capsules missing, and a number of airlocks opened from within, venting the atmosphere to space, the mysterious cargo also missing. There are many unanswered questions about the geology expedition to the Coalsack Nebula and the voyage of the Adamastor. Who was Azimuth Biochemicals really? Why would they want the news of the first ever barnacle sites and the discovery of a Thargoid pilot or a Thargoid sensor hushed up? Who was controlling the agenda here? And why does it seem they already knew how important this discovery was? This all happened 14 years before the first confirmed encounters between humans and Thargoids, 14 years before the Empire and the Federation secretly collaborated to create the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm, to analyse Thargoid technology and find ways to defeat the Thargoids. This was 40 years before Commander John Jameson made his famous deployment of the mycoid virus, the genocidal act that ended the conflict between humans and Thargoids. Was this discovery in the Coalsack Nebula the first contact between humans and Thargoids? The past is a jigsaw puzzle with many of the pieces missing. This week's discovery of the missing pieces that tell a story of the voyage of the Adamastor has filled in a significant new part of the picture and made it clear that someone has been working to hide the truth from us for longer than we'd imagined.